What's going on, everybody? Hey, howdy. I'm Joe McCall. This is the Real Estate Investing Mastery Podcast, here with another great episode. And today we're going to be talking to a good friend of mine from Epic Real Estate, Matt Theriault. And we're going to be talking about how to maximize your ROI and minimize your risk. Can you do both at the same time? I don't know. We'll find out with Matt in today's podcast. But first, podcast is brought to you by my new report, my top 5 strategies for finding deals in 2021. This is a report I put together where I talked about everybody's saying right now the market is hot. There's no deals out there. It's too hard. By the way, I hear everybody complain. I hear people complain about the same thing every single year, no matter what direction the market is heading, up or down or flat or sideways or not. What people always find a reason to complain that it doesn't work. It's either too hard to find sellers, it's too hard to find buyers, it's whatever. But there are deals out there, and in this report, I actually prove it. I go through and I pick some counties at random when I did this, and I proved that there are investors right now finding deals, buying deals at significant discounts. And so I talk about the 5 favorite strategies that we are using, me, my students, my clients are using for finding deals in 2021, even in a quote unquote hot market. Now, where do you get this free report if you want it? Right here, partnerwithjoe.net. Go to partnerwithjoe.net to get this free report. It's hard to hold the report and keep it straight while the camera is switched. Anyway, free report. My 5 top strategies for finding deals in 2021. An easy to follow guide on how to find motivated sellers, no matter how hot the market is or how little experience you have. So you're going to love this. It's a PDF that you can get. Right now, go to partnerwithjoe.net. Cool. So let's bring on Matt. Let's see if Matt is here. Matt, how are you?
Hey, Joe, my favorite person in all of the interwebs.
Yeah. Well, you're one of my favorites. I don't know.
Just one of them.
Yeah,
but you are my favorite. So
no, I mean, you're right up there close to I'm just thinking my wife. My wife's my favorite.
Oh, well, of course. But is she on the interwebs?
Not really. She hates
okay, so there you go. There's the distinction.
Man, so Matt Theriault, guys, from Epic REI.TV. Does that lead to your YouTube channel, Matt?
That's to the YouTube channel. I got a fancy, what do they call that? A vanity domain name, and it goes right to my YouTube URL. So you're not going to somewhere.
And guys, listen to this seriously. I'm jealous of Matt's YouTube channel. I always have been for years, and he's got such great content on his YouTube channel. How he does it, he's a beast. So go check out his YouTube channel. Go to epicrei.tv. Check out his YouTube channel. He's got so much good information in there. I mean, Matt, I always love the way you teach because it's like you're reading from a teleprompter. You're so polished.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you do it. You're going to have to teach me one of these days.
Yeah, it's called editing.
And I hate editing my videos, so that's why mine are not as professional as Matt.
Yeah, I hired somebody for that. Anyway, go ahead.
Matt, how's business for you? Are you still in Vegas?
Still in Vegas. Business is great. I just did something for the first time ever in my life. I just bought my primary residence.
Uh-oh.
Which is something I've been so against for so long.
Yeah, I'm surprised about that.
Right?
Tell me why.
Well, every time I've always, and speaking of the YouTube channel and then also the podcast, I mean, for a decade now, I've been saying that your primary residence is a terrible investment.
What's the phrase? Rent where you live and own what you rent.
Or rent where you love and invest where you want to make money. I don't know.
Rent where you live, own where you rent. Now,
okay. I know there's something more poetic that goes to that, but but I've always said, that it's a terrible investment, and I still believe that to this day. But I've always included one caveat with that speech before I step off of the soapbox. And that is, if you can live where you live, if you can buy for cheaper on a monthly basis than for what you rent, then you might want to reconsider. Because it's all inside the context of escaping the rat race. I want to keep my monthly expenses low and keep my monthly income high. Yeah. That way I don't have to work.
Well, what's the appreciation in the market like in Vegas right now? And do you feel that's going to be sustained for a while?
All indicators are pointing to yes. I think it will slow down for sure, but I don't think it's going to shift downward at all. Not anytime soon. But the appreciation, speaking of that, I'm not even concerned about the house values.
Really?
Rent here in Las Vegas, nationally, the rent has risen 8%.
Yeah.
Here in Las Vegas, it's risen 23%.
23% year over year.
Year over year. So our lease just came up. I mean, I've shared with you before, I live in a $3 million house. It might be $4 million by now since we moved in because the way the market has gone. But it was cheaper for me to live in this $3 million house than it was for me to go and buy it or even buy a $2 million house.
Yeah. If I lived in California, that's what I would be doing.
Right. And so that's just been my existence, and it's been a nice life. And I always get to live in a much nicer place for a lot less money.
And you don't have to worry about the maintenance as much.
Yeah. I don't have to worry about any of that. And the other big thing is I don't miss out on the opportunity costs of what you would need for 20% down to buy a $3 million house. There's other things I can do with $600,000 that would produce a much better return than locking it up in my house.
And I know exactly what you're talking about. I just transitioned out of a lease option. Well, it was lease option, then it became owner financing, and then it became a traditional 30-year mortgage for my current residence. And I had to get a jumbo mortgage.
Right.
And I could have had the money in the bank to buy this house, but because I'm self-employed and it's a jumbo mortgage, it was like one of the most difficult things I've ever had to do to get a mortgage on this house, even though I had great debt to income, good credit score. But when you're self-employed, it makes it even that much harder to find a bank that's willing to finance you for an expensive property, right?
Yep. I just went through that whole same experience. In fact, we got a little bridge loan just to get into the house, and now we're going to have to sit in there, let it season so we can just refinance later. Wow. Because the banks don't like it if you're self-employed.
No, I mean, you could be making 1/4 of the money and the banks would rather lend you the money.
Yes. Well, for a perfect example, last year, my assistant bought a house in 30 days. And I was like, how come my assistant can buy the house, but me who writes her paycheck has such a challenge?
I've thought about doing a course on just like a $97 product on how to buy or how to lease option or owner finance your own personal residence. Because there's so many entrepreneurs and small business owners out there that are struggling to buy a house because they don't have the tax returns. They're making great income. They want to get a jumbo loan. But have you found this to be true, Matt? I have, where the more expensive homes, it's easier to do creative financing on the more expensive homes.
Yeah, I guess maybe because you're dealing with a little bit more of a sophisticated buyer. I haven't really done a test and haven't paid attention to it. But the reason I didn't, and you're not the first person that has brought that up. I mean, someone in my YouTube comments when I talked about this asked me, well, why didn't you go do a subject to? Why didn't you do some creative financing or seller financing on your house? And I was like, well, you don't have a whole lot of control as to what your marketing actually brings in. I mean, it brings in opportunities, and there's a lot of opportunities there to make money, but are they the opportunities of where you want to take your family to, right? And so our lease was coming up, and so I had to do it in a very timely fashion. So that was why. But no, I totally agree. If you have the opportunity, if something comes up and you're like, well, I think I want to live in this one, I would say take advantage of it.
Yeah. Well, I did a podcast on this a couple months ago. I paid off a $520,000 federal tax lien, and I couldn't.
Congrats, buddy. Congrats.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That was, talk about a relief, right? Talk about 100,000 pound weight off my shoulders. But
sure. No, we talked about that. I know that was weighing on you. So congrats for getting through that.
Couldn't get a mortgage with a $500,000 tax lien. Even though I'd paid, I didn't pay it all off in one swoop. It took me about 2 or 3 years to do it. But ever since I've shared that story, I've been finding a lot of other investors, small business owners, even inside and outside of real estate, have been coming to me telling me, man, I got the same problem. I've had people say, man, I have a $90,000 overdue tax bill. I thought I was bad. And then I've also been finding people who've been like, man, I have a $2 million, a $3 million tax lien
totally
hanging over their heads. There's a lot of people like that. But that doesn't mean, like, even if you have bad credit, this is what I love about real estate so much, and creative real estate, is like, even though you have bad credit or you've got these these things hanging over you because as a small business owner, as an entrepreneur, we're taking more risks. It's hard to get a mortgage, but you can still live in a really nice house with that stuff going on. Let me say this first real quick. We've got some people on the Facebooks and YouTubes right now watching us, like Nikel. He says here, love both of you guys. Glad to see you live together. #undercover-fan. Peter's got a good question here. We'll talk about this later. I'm a young investor living in Nashville. What can be a good opportunity? Nashville's a great market. It's hard to find deals there. We'll talk about that a little later. Listen, if you guys are watching,
get your book, Joe.
You should get my book.
Yeah.
Just talk to
There's an opportunity right there.
Go get my book, partnerwithjoe.net. So there, in fact, I'll talk about that later too. If you guys have any questions, we're going to be talking about maximizing your ROI, minimizing your risk. Matt is going to bring up some really good stuff here in just a sec. So if you've got any questions or comments, type them right now into the Facebook or YouTube comments section. We can see them live here. We'll bring them up if you have a good question and we'll answer them. Okay. What's the name of the book? Come on, here it is.
See,
there it is right there.
That's part of your strategy. Make your fans beg for your products.
Top 5 strategies for finding deals in 2021. You can get it at partnerwithjoe.net for free.
On that note, I have not read his book and I have no idea what's in it, but I always admire Joe because he's always got some new creative trick with some free website on how to find deals. So I'm going to get it myself. So there you go.
There you go. All right. So Matt, you're really good at numbers. And you're really good at figuring out, okay, how do I increase my ROI, my return on investment, without going crazy and taking all this risk? So what is this that you're talking about? I thought, when the higher your returns on your investment, the more risk that you had to take. Is that true?
Yeah, to some degree. So what I've been I was going to pull something up on the screen. If you want, I can share it and walk you through.
Yeah, will it let you?
Let's see. Share screen.
It should let you.
Okay, don't show these tips again. I got that. Here's the window. Here's the thing. Okay, yeah, I can. Nice. So I can share this. And I'll bring it on in a second.
Okay.
Oops. Yeah, let's do this
Tell
first.
me when you want to show it, and I'll
okay, it up. Totally. So I'm a cash flow investor. I'm a buy and hold guy. I have been that way for the last 10 years. I love the creative financing. I love the great loans and opportunities I can get. And I just love cash flow because I've made all this money in music. But I was only as good as my last release and I had to make more and more and more. So I made great money, but I still had to keep the hustle going on. And I kind of see that a parallel there, like with flipping properties. And, at the age of 34, when you're bagging groceries, starting life from scratch, I was like, I never want to come back here again. So I had really the fear of God put into me, like, oh my God, I need to create residual income. I need to create this cash flow. And so that's where my drive for passive income comes from and why I want to buy and hold everything. It's always my intent. Yeah. Plan B is to wholesale. And then plan C is to actually fix and flip. I mean, there's got to be a really big payday for me to take on that work and the risk there.
Yeah.
With the fix and flip. So anyway, cash flow. So I've been really toying with this idea called the velocity of money. And it's just how it's an economic concept or theory. No, it's not a theory. It's a concept that economists use to measure the strength and the health of an economy. And so, for example, this would be a good time. I'll go ahead and share the thing here.
All right, hold on here.
All right. Put that in there. And then
boom.
All right. Can you see it? It's black, right?
Black. Yeah. I see Epic, the word Epic.
Okay. Hopefully that's really faded. I forgot I put the watermark on this.
It is faded.
I did not intend to do that. All right. So the velocity of money works in a society where you have, say, a restaurant owner.
Oh man, this is fancy.
Yeah, look at me go.
This is what frustrates me, guys, about Matt. He's always got these fancy graphics, and that's why his YouTube channel is so good. All right, so you got these.
We just finished a creative financing masterclass this last weekend, so I'm all prepared and set up for it. So,
okay.
All right.
Those of you listening to the audio podcast right now, he's just got an image. So explain the image, what people are seeing here, Matt.
Perfect. So on the far left, you've got, say, a restaurant owner. and he gives $100 to the grocery store owner because he's got to buy, say, steak, right? Then the grocery store owner has to give that $100 over to the rancher to buy the beef so they can prepare it to sell it to the restaurant owner. Then the rancher's got to go over to the farmer to take that $100 and buy the feed or the grain to feed to the cows. And then the farmer, since he got $100, he's going to take his wife out for a nice dinner and goes to the restaurant. So that $100, and it was just $100 in our society, in our economy, produced the goods and services of $400. See how that works?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and only did that just because the $100 moved from person to person to person. So with this concept, I started thinking, well, what if I was every person? Right? So to change this up a little bit, next would be, here would be a real estate investor. They go and they take $100,000 to buy a house. Then the cash flow can go and purchase a car, say a little Jeep on Turo. And I picked Jeep Wrangler because that's the highest performing car on Turo. That's a share ride app. So it's kind of like an Airbnb for cars.
Yeah.
And that produces on average $900 a month. So you can take the $900 a month and then take that and put it into peer-to-peer lending platform that can pay you anywhere from 40 to 100% annual return. That comes back to you until you've got enough money to go buy another income property. So again, like your one asset bought another asset that bought another asset.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we do already as real estate investors. We just do it with exclusively houses.
Yeah.
Right. And so with the houses, what that does though is, so it maximizes your return and it maximizes how hard your money is working, but it makes you subjective to the real estate market. So you've got the risk. So to your point, great ROI here, a great use of your money here, great use of creation of passive income, but the risk is like the same, because if the real estate market were to crash, your whole little empire, your whole little machine here comes crashing down.
Yep.
So you want to start looking at diversifying your assets, but in uncorrelated market classes. So I'll show you what I've been doing here. Oh, sorry, I got the promo there, Joe.
That's fine.
All right. Anyway, so what I started doing is taking all of my income from my real estate and my business. So I've got the Epic Wealth Fund that produces an income for me. I've got my real estate portfolio that produces an income for me. I've got Cash Flow Savvy that produces an income for me. And then I've got and my education business that produces an income for me. So I started taking all of that income. This was back in 2000, a little bit in 2017, but I really picked up the pace in 2019 when I moved here to Vegas. And I'll tell you why in a sec. But I started dollar cost averaging into cryptocurrency, just really, really small amounts. Okay. So I was like, it was literally like, it was $100 a week coming out of my account going in buying Bitcoin. And I started doing that in 2017. And so I just like set it and forget it. And it was just $100 every week that I didn't see and I didn't miss it. And it was no big deal. And, you know, if you go back to 2017, that turned out to be a pretty good decision.
Oh, yeah.
But when I moved to Vegas, I recognized something here in all of the gas stations in Las Vegas, specifically the Chevrons. There are Bitcoin ATMs. And these are like full size. Really? Say again.
Is there really?
Yes. So there's and I noticed this. So I've been here 2 years. So I noticed it right when I moved here. Full-sized ATMs right next to regular ATMs. I mean, they're full-blown machines. And I'm like, what is this? Like, do I take my blood pressure here? Or like, what is this machine for? And they're Bitcoin ATMs. So I was like, uh-oh, there's something bigger going on behind the scenes. Like someone is spending a lot of money preparing for mainstream adoption. And so just based on that alone, I started picking up and accelerating or increasing the quantity of my dollar cost averaging. And I started doing more research because it was a total FOMO investing strategy. Let me just get some Bitcoin just in case this thing takes off one day.
Sure.
But now I became a lot more educated on it and started really researching and kind of diversifying into these different coins and everything and really pumping a lot more in. So I had that, but I wanted to put more in but I didn't want to put in more because I needed my cash to run operations. I needed my cash for my real estate business. So I didn't put in as much as I wanted to. So one thing I did with this, velocity of money thing, as the previous example, I opened up a life insurance banking account, and it's invested in the stock market. It only produces a 5% ROI. Not really anything to brag about, but it's really safe and secure. So there's not a whole lot of volatility there.
And the returns are guaranteed, right?
And yes, right. And it gives me this one's a 8-figure life insurance policy for my family. But, and that's like your death benefit. But people with this bank account, they don't understand there's an actual life benefit as well. And what that does is it allows me to borrow whatever I put in there, and I can borrow up to 80% LTV. But I'm not, unlike borrowing from your 401k. So if you had $100,000 in your 401k and you borrow $50,000 to go buy a house with it, you just took $50,000 out of your 401k. So now your 401k is only growing at that $50,000 is the only thing that's appreciating. With the life insurance bank account, your $100,000 stays in the bank account, and it's just collateral against the $50,000 that you'd borrow.
So you're still earning interest on the 100 grand.
Exactly. Right. So, and what they call that in the world of financial planning is uninterrupted compounding. When you borrow from the 401k, you're interrupting your compounding interest. You're interrupting that 8th wonder of the world. Right. And so it's not going to produce what you think it's going to produce because you just interrupted it by taking some money out. But by leaving it in here, you've got uninterrupted compounding, and now you can truly benefit from this Einstein's 8th wonder of the world, right? So I started borrowing from that and putting it into more crypto. But I took all of my stocks. I sold my stocks. I didn't have anything significant in there, but I had just like the basics. I had Apple, Amazon, and Netflix. So I sold all of that and put that in my life insurance bank account, and then started borrowing or buying more crypto. So now I've got that all of that money is growing in my life insurance bank account, and it's also growing in my crypto account. So that $1 is purchased 2 cash producing assets or 2 appreciating assets. Follow me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So then I discovered this, and this is what I discovered just about 9 or 10 months ago, and this is what blew my whole world open. Is I discovered that you can borrow against your crypto in the exact same fashion that you can borrow against your life insurance bank account. So I can use my cryptocurrency as collateral without selling it, borrow it, and then go buy real estate with it. So all of my money gets siphoned right through, goes straight into my life insurance bank account that goes and buys crypto that transfers it over to this other site called Nexo. If you go to epicnexo.com, you can get some free cryptocurrency. We both actually do. There's my promotion. But anyway, go to Nexo and you can borrow against it without selling it.
People are going to ask for that domain. What's that domain again?
They're right there if you can see them. So I got epiccoinbase.com, which a lot of people have. You have to buy the crypto there.
Okay.
And then you have to transfer it over to Nexo. So epicnexo.com.
Okay.
And then once you've transferred it there, now you can take out loans. And the loans are immediate. We were just talking about how difficult it was to get a house loan. No, literally in 10 minutes, you can wire the money from Nexo to your actual bank account. It's instant.
So how much interest do you pay yourself when you're borrowing money?
Okay, so I'm paying, it's right there. I'm sorry about the watermark.
It's kind of small. I have a hard time seeing it.
Sure, it's 9.5% interest.
Okay.
But with Nexo, and there's a lot of websites that do this, but I chose Nexo because you don't have to ever make a payment. It just continues to go up. And as long as you maintain, so you can borrow at 50% LTV, but as long as you maintain at least a 95% LTV, you never owe a payment. If you drop below that, they start liquidating in little pieces to keep you at a 95% LTV. But my philosophy is if Bitcoin has averaged a 200% return every single year over the last 10 years, why would I want to pay off that loan at 9.5% when the asset is earning 200%?
Yeah. Okay.
So that's my philosophy there. So I'm not even making the payments there. And then, so I buy the income producing real estate, and I just finished this cycle for the third time this year. I go and refinance the money because I paid cash for that real estate. I refinance it, and then it goes right back over, and the cash flow is going back into my life insurance bank account. So,
wow.
Right.
All right. So you've got your income from your businesses, where you're putting it into your life insurance banking.
Yep.
You're taking money from that and buying crypto.
Yep.
You're taking that crypto to Epic Nexo, EPICNEXO.com, where you can then borrow money, but you're not selling your cryptocurrencies, right?
Correct.
So they're still going up in value, even though you're borrowing against it.
Exactly.
And you're still paying an interest, but it's appreciating faster than your interest is that you're paying.
Correct.
And then, so you're taking the money you're borrowing out of Epic Nexo, and then you're buying more income producing real estate.
Yep. And then I refinance that money out and put it right back in. So here's the beautiful thing is all this money is growing, and I'm using all of this money tax-free because they're all loans. So I'm never paying a tax on it because the IRS doesn't tax borrowed money.
So your money that you're making in your real estate business income, do you have to pay taxes on that?
Yeah. So so once it gets to the bank, the life insurance bank, those are post-tax dollars. Yes.
Okay. Right. Okay.
Yeah. But now it grows. So
is there a way you can not pay taxes on that? Can your refinancing go into your life insurance? When you refinance a real estate, can it go into your life insurance bank?
Oh yeah, it does. That's exactly where this big giant green arrow goes.
So but the first green arrow that's after tax dollars.
Yes. So I should delete that because I'm not doing that anymore.
Okay.
So the recurring dollar cost averaging is coming straight from the bank and the life insurance bank account.
Okay.
I was doing that before I had that life insurance bank account in place.
Wow.
Yeah, I should admit that. And here's the other thing now is I am not even doing the dollar cost averaging anymore because once I put the money in the life insurance bank account, the money there is stable and it's secure. It's not volatile. It's gonna be there. But if I'm constantly doing this dollar cost averaging, particularly when the market is going up like it is right now this whole year, I subject my money to the volatility of the cryptocurrency market. So I could put money in there with the intent to buy real estate 3 months from now, but then the market could have a big correction, and all of a sudden I don't have the money to buy the real estate 3 months from now.
Well, right. So what happens if the cryptocurrency market crashes? How does that leave you exposed?
Okay, so we'll talk about that in a sec.
Okay.
Because that's part of the risk mitigation part. So now I'm just stuffing the life insurance bank account and just keep on putting the money in there until I'm ready to make a real estate purchase. So now say the house was, I just got one with seller financing. I needed like $25,000 for a down payment. Okay. So what I did is I took $100,000, put it into the life insurance bank account, immediately borrowed 80%, put it into the crypto, and then borrowed it to go pay the for the real estate.
The down payment.
Correct. So that way I knew I had the money. I knew I could pull the trigger. To your point, if the market would have corrected, say before I needed the money to close escrow on that real estate property, then I might not have had it there. Right. So so I stopped the dollar money in the life insurance bank account until I'm ready to buy the real estate.
All right. So, but if the cryptocurrency crashes, cryptocurrency, you still have to pay that money back to Nexo, correct?
Correct. Let me see what my next slide is. I might answer your question here. Okay. This is going to complicate the issue. So with the Coinbase thing, like I use that peer-to-peer lending. So I can lend if I'm not borrowing the crypto myself, I can lend it out to other people, and I'm averaging about a 31% annual return doing that.
Are you doing that?
Yeah. I actually found a better website that's giving me about 100% annual return.
And how much are you lending out, like in dollars, in terms of
I just
dollars?
store they are is I just store my dollars there, and it lends it out on auto, but they're short loans. So it's 7, 14, or 21 day loans.
Wow. And it comes back to you in crypto.
So it comes back to me and then it automatically gets redistributed. So if I ever want to I can just click the stop button and then it'll just wait for the 7 days, the 14 days, and the 21 day loans to come due. And then I'll have all my cash back.
Okay.
So it works for me. So let me see what my next slide here is. Okay, cool. All right. So here's the point. I've got the velocity of money times 3. So I've got $1 produced that purchased 3 assets, and it's producing an income and a great return in 3 assets. I've got uninterrupted compounding because I didn't have to sell anything. So I still got all of the life insurance, I still got all the crypto, and I got the real estate, right? And they're uncorrelated investments. This is what I wanted to get to based on what your point was. So the uncorrelated investments. So in the event that the cryptocurrency market would crash, that would suck, right? I wouldn't like that. But because where I've borrowed it from, I'm at 50% LTV. So I've got all of the money there to pay that back. So the worst case is I just paid back my loan, right? I didn't lose my crypto. I just paid back the loan, but it was just an automatic payment.
And you can only borrow up to 50%.
Correct. Correct. There's other websites that do 60, 70, but they all have their different pros and cons. I just like Epic Nexo for 2 reasons. One, you don't have to make payments. And second, if the market were to crash, they only liquidate your cryptocurrency to pay back your debt in small little increments to keep you at a 95% LTV. Most of the other websites will sell all of it and collect it all if it drops below a certain level. So that's the least risk of losing everything. But the worst case is, okay, I paid back my loan, but I still own the real estate free and clear, see?
Yeah.
So that's why they're uncorrelated. So the same thing, if the real estate market were to crash, I've got my money in the other 2 assets as well. So they're uncorrelated. Now, if all 3 crash, then that means, we better have bought some bullets too, because we're gonna have bigger fish to fry.
And toilet paper.
And toilet paper, yes. So we've got uncorrelated investments. The investment appreciation times 3. Some of these are a little redundant, I think. Minimal taxation. So there's almost no taxation after you've put your money into the system. And then you're hedged against inflation like crazy. And right now that's a really big deal because these are all long-term fixed debts. Yeah. Right. And then I'm hedged against risk. And that's what we just talked about that. So when I look at this, and I'm almost done with this, but when you look at it this way, like I'm looking at, why would you even want a 401k or an IRA? Why would you not just liquidate that thing immediately? Because I get to benefit from all of this right now, and it's multiplying it probably 300, 400 times what my 401k is multiplying at. If you got the money if you got investment properties already, refi that money and put this in the system. If you've got money in your primary residence, refi it, put it in your system. If you got collectibles, sell and put it in the system and go buy the collectibles back. But now you've got your collectibles and you've got these cash producing assets. And then just borrow as much money as you possibly can. And that's a reckless statement for a lot of people, and that freaks them out. But there's not a loan shark out there that would charge you so much that you couldn't pay for it all with this system. Right?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's how it works. And that's what I'm really excited about.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Let's see if you guys have any questions, because I think I understand it, but I'm sure, like Nikel says here, wow. Luis, hello from Dallas. Thanks for the valuable live. Maria, thank you. Great information. Facebook user here is saying, how does this relate to the velocity of money? I think you answered that, but
it is the velocity of money.
Yes.
Okay. Maybe the question is, so the velocity of money is where the $1 produced 4 times the goods and services just because it moved from one provider to the other. What I've done here is I've taken out all the providers and I've put my own assets in place. So my dollar is moving from asset to asset to asset and circulating. So that's how the velocity of money, how it applies. Brandon asks a good question here. So what is the total end return, possibly
explained what $1 could theoretically become. Have you done that math?
I mean, because they're uncorrelated assets and because they grow at different rates, it's a lot, Brandon. But the one thing that you'd want to pay attention to the most is when you use that reference of $1. That $1 bought 3 different assets, $3 worth of assets that the $1 individually couldn't have purchased. I would have needed $3 if I purchased each one of these individually. Like if I went and got the bank insurance, the crypto, and the real estate separately, I would need $3 to buy those 3 assets. But through this, I only needed $1 to do it.
Good. Somebody else is asking here, pay off my credit cards and cash out my annuity?
I absolutely would. I wouldn't pay off the credit cards. I'd borrow from the credit cards. I've borrowed from a bunch from mine. Now that's reckless information. This is not advice. I am a reckless idiot. I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm probably going to lose everything. That's my disclaimer. Okay. So
I might take the other end of like, be careful with your credit cards.
Yep. Go ahead. Fine. The one thing on the credit cards is don't use a credit card that would have an adjustable rate, because now you're losing your hedge against inflation. You want your fixed rate debt.
Say that again one more time. Sorry.
If you have a credit card that has an adjustable rate, like that's the kind of debt you do want to stay away from. You don't want adjustable mortgages. You don't want adjustable refis. You want fixed long-term debt.
All right.
Otherwise, you're actually subject to or vulnerable to inflation.
Johanna, I believe, says here, I missed the life insurance bank account part. Which institution is your provider? You can go to Epic. I'm sorry. I just got done with the whole presentation, so this is all branded with my stuff. But Epic Profit Booster, epicprofitbooster.com. And that'll just connect you with my guy. And he's not just a life insurance guy. And you don't want to go to just a life insurance person. You want to go to an investment strategist that's going to get you the right policy that allows you to do this. And so he works totally for free. You don't pay him anything. He makes his money from the life insurance if you go forward, and they pay him. So, but he's a real whiz and a real genius, and I'm really fortunate enough to have met him. Nice.
Yep.
Good question. Any other questions, guys? I'm looking here. Mark says, I saw a Bitcoin ATM at the Circle K the other day. I'm in Alabama.
Yes, they just added it. They just announced that, I think, a couple weeks ago. I think it's like 10,000 Circle Ks are getting Bitcoin ATMs. So the mass adoption is coming. So if you're not in it, you might just want to put something in it and set it and forget it, just in case.
Wow. I haven't seen any of these in St. Louis. Either I don't get out or St. Louis doesn't have any. I was just driving through Alabama the other day, too, on my way back from Florida.
And you didn't stop at a Circle K, Joe?
No. I don't know if there were any, because we were driving through small country roads the whole time for whatever reason. Mark says here, I know Matt and Joe had a 3-option letter and a calculator. Is it still available? Where could I find the automated system? Where's your calculator, Matt? Mine's inside the members area, so it's behind a membership wall. But if you go to epicloi.com, you can get the spreadsheet for it, and you can get the actual letter, epicloi.com. And then if you want to pay the upgrade, you can get the calculator. But at least you get the spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet does the exact same thing. Nice. Yep. Cool. I have one also a partner with Joe.net. I have a free version and then a premium version that's $7. All right. Any more questions? We got some questions here. Sounds great, but I think my brain exploded. LOL. Is there somewhere I can go to be dumbed down to digest everything you just went over? Because I started the way I started because I was trying to dumb it down as much as possible. Maybe I don't know it, Michael. Replay of this, Michael, right? I don't know anyone that's doing this. I did this all through my own thought process. I didn't read it in a book, so I can't refer you to a book. I can't refer you to a website. This is just something I just started thinking, like, what if I did this? And what if I did this? And what if I did that? And I'm already thinking, like, what's a fourth element I can put in there at some point, right? I don't know what that is yet. Offshore bank accounts? Yeah, but it's got to be an appreciating cash producing asset, right? Okay. So I am actually considering starting my own Turo fleet here in Las Vegas. Buying a bunch of Jeeps and Mustangs, because that's what gets rented out here. Brandon's asking me a question that I kind of had too. What's the significance of the Bitcoin ATM?
It was just a clue to me, Brandon, that mass adoption is on the way. Because these were full-blown ATMs. It's not just like cheap little thing made out of cardboard. I mean, it's like a big giant machine next to the regular ATM. They're the same size. So there's a lot of money and a lot of investment, a lot of faith and belief in the future of cryptocurrencies for people to put that in all of those chevrons. And now, as previously was pointed out, the Circle Ks. MasterCard is coming out with it. Visa is coming out to accept it. PayPal is probably the biggest adopter, and PayPal has more customers than all of the banks combined right now globally. So now they're totally embracing it. So mass adoption is coming.
What I've heard some people talk about, if the Federal Reserve, because China's already talking about it, coming out with their own digital currency, and the Federal Reserve in the U.S. is now talking about it. Maybe what's that going to do to cryptocurrencies and Bitcoins and things like that?
Yeah, that's a big variable, Joe. I don't know. I mean, regulation is kind of the big concern for most people. I don't think it's going to go away. I just think they want to monitor it closely because so much of it happens behind the scenes. It's a little bit still like the Wild Wild West. Yeah. But if they came and put the smash down on it, you know what? I've got such a head start now, and you're not too late if you started now for sure. Not by any means. We're still at the very beginning of this. But look at how much real estate and stock I would still own in my life insurance bank account and my real estate portfolio.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point of it, is that I'm hedged against something like that that's out of our control.
Brandon's asking, can you expand the slide so I can grab a screenshot? Yeah, we can do that real quick here, but you can also just go back to the this podcast is on the YouTubes, and you can watch it.
You can always go back and rewatch the YouTube, but I guess
just go to the Joe McCall channel.
Just have to go through the whole sequence all over again.
Yeah, okay. We'll just go to the Joe McCall channel, and you can find this video. And just fast forward.
We can rewind video.
We can.
I forget that kind of stuff all the time.
Michael says I see Bitcoin on the Cash App. That's right. That's how I've bought all of my Bitcoin.
Yep.
It's through the Cash App. It's just
it's in Venmo now, which is owned by PayPal, but Venmo's got it. And
Brandon's got another question. What other coins are you focused on other than Bitcoin, and why?
Okay. I've got a lot of Bitcoin. I've got a lot of Ethereum and a lot of Cardano. Those are like the top three. I think those are like the three safest ones. The ones that have the best use case. They have the best backing behind it. And I am into some other stuff that's probably a little bit riskier. But, I think with the potential parabolic returns, like putting $1,000 in that could be worth 100,000. That's worth the risk to me.
Somebody's saying here, BTC has better protocol versus other cryptos.
Yeah.
Yep. Brian says here, as an FYI, if you're driving through Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, or Florida, keep an eye out for the Boosies. There are huge rest stops with lots of gas pumps and no truckers allowed. Restrooms are award-winning clean. All right, cool.
I thought and they have BTM or BTC Bitcoin ATMs.
What about Dogecoin, however you say it?
Okay. Dogecoin for everybody is an absolute joke. The owner says it's a joke. He made it as a goof. He was being sarcastic and making fun of Bitcoin when he made it. It has no use case. There's not even a developer behind it. It's 100% hype. And this is all from the owner, the creator himself. Now, Elon Musk and Mark Cuban are trying to force it to be used as a cryptocurrency. But I would, if you have any money in there and you've made some, I would take it out.
Somebody else here says, don't buy paper BTC. Not your keys, not your coin. I don't know. You could buy paper Bitcoin.
Yeah, I don't. Oh, probably because there's funds that are buying Bitcoin, so you can buy into the fund on the stock market.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. They're going to be doing ETFs, like
There's already several outside of the United States, but they're trying to get approval for ones inside the U.S.
Yeah. So that truck stop, that rest stop is called Buc-ee's. Very cool.
Good promo, Brian. I like the guerrilla marketing here.
Yeah.
You and I, cool. we appreciate that.
Well, this has been good, educational. I know some of you are thinking, what just happened? So go back to the YouTube, watch this again, fast forward it, slow it down, and pause it, take screenshots and all of that, because Matt gave a lot of good websites in there that you should check out. Matt, how can people get a hold of you if they have questions or if they want some help?
Well, Epic REI TV, the YouTube channel is really good. We just updated and completely revamped after 10 years. We just stepped ourselves into the 21st century, our actual epicrealestate.com website.
Really?
Yeah. I hadn't touched it forever, dude. It just sat there and did nothing.
Check that out.
I don't think any of the links worked. I don't think anything was going on whatsoever. But we just redid that whole thing. And so we're quickly doing that. And of course, we have the Epic Real Estate Investing Show, epicrealestateinvesting.com podcast. And that is going through a revamp, and that will be completely all brand new structure, new intro, new graphics, everything all next week, and new provider, everything.
Wow. Are you, how often are you doing podcast episodes now? I'm just curious.
I have lagged the last 3 weeks, but we'll probably work. We've been doing 2 per week, and we're probably ramping back up to at least 5 days a week.
Oh, nice. YouTube channel too?
Yeah, I'm doing 3 a week, but that's a struggle. That's a lot of work. We put a lot of work into each one of those videos. Just the prep before I even get to record is takes up so much time.
Well, Matt, you're doing good stuff. I just encourage you guys just to go check out Matt's channel on YouTube, epicrei.tv, and check it out. Matt's always constantly coming out with really good information that is specific to real estate and growing your money, reducing your risk, increasing your ROI. So thank you. And I'll be on your show soon, I think.
Yeah, let's see what the date is. We'll do that live too. So you can come over to my channel, and then I'm going to interview Joe and figure out all of his cool little tricks. What day is that?
I don't think my tricks are going to be as cool as yours.
Oh, that's tomorrow.
It is it?
Yeah. All right. So catch us at 2:15 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and Joe and I will do this all over again. But Joe's going to be in the hot seat, and we'll see what fancy tricks Joe.
I'm not going to have any slides. So, but I'll bring the heat. I will bring the heat.
I'm glad I just did that. I'll create a fancy thumbnail for us right now and promote it.
All right, guys. Thanks for being on the show. Go check out Matt's stuff. And thank you again, Matt. Always good talking to you, man.
Love you, Joe. Take care.
See you guys. Bye-bye.